For the first 1.5 years, I had no idea what was being said in the hospital. It was a horror show. Colloquial spoken German in the hospital is completely different than normal German spoken on the streets, The stuff that is being said, just stick with it and slowly you will start understanding what is being said. Hello friends, welcome back, and in this video I wanted to explain to you the 6 things that you need to know before you start your residency in Germany and how residency is in Germany. Now, I have done 2 different residency trainings in Germany, surgery and radiology. In surgery, I have done different fields, plastic surgery, have done stints in vascular surgery and urology, and of course I've done diagnostic and interventional radiology as well. So if there is anyone who can explain to you how residency is in Germany, I guess it's me, because I have a lot of experience in Germany and in Switzerland as well. So let's start straight away. The first thing is, for the first 1.5 years of your residency, you will not understand a thing that is being said. Now, take it with a pinch of salt, but I did very well in my language exams. I was a topper in my B1 and I think I came first or second in my B2 exams as well. So I thought, and even in my language classes, I was among the best, and I thought residency in Germany is going to be a cakewalk because I did very well in my language exams. I could talk with, other Germans. I could understand what they were saying until I started my residency. For the first 1.5 years, I had no idea what was being said in the hospital. It was a horror show. I mean, I would attend rounds with the consultant. There was another German doctor with me as well. We were 2 residents in the surgery department, and the morning rounds would be conducted and the consultant would say, okay, this patient needs this. And I had no idea what he had just said. Luckily, I had this German resident with me, and after the rounds he would tell me, this is what he said and this is what you need to do. And I was like, for the first 1.5 years, I was like, will I be able to ever understand what is being said? Because colloquial spoken German in the hospital is completely different than normal German spoken on the streets, spoken in day-to-day life in Germany. And this took a long time. Even the fact that the stuff that is being said is so different than what you learn in language classes. So this will take time. Don't lose hope. Just stick with it and slowly you will start understanding what is being said. Maybe with some other people it will be quicker, but in my case it took some time. I remember I had done my surgery residency in India and I used to write a lot of discharge summaries, and then I came to Germany and I wrote my first discharge summary all by myself, and I was so proud of this. My consultant came with my first discharge summary. He threw it on the table in front of me and said, what the hell is this? There were so many mistakes. The work was so sloppy, and you learn it the hard way. There is no way around it. It's okay. I mean, you will have a lot of disappointments and frustrations in the first 1.5 years, but just stick with the journey and slowly, step by step, you'll start gradually you'll start picking this up, and within 1.5 years, you will start understanding, and slowly your skills will improve. So don't be disappointed or don't be frustrated with this. It's just a matter of time. The next thing that you need to know is, the second thing that you need to know is, where you do your residency matters. What do I mean by this? Now, in Germany, there are different kinds of hospitals. There's a university hospital. There are Kreiskrankenhäuser or district hospitals. There are smaller village hospitals. There are rehabilitation hospitals. Now, where you do your residency, whether it's a university hospital, it matters. There's a big difference in where you do your residency. Now, let's take the university hospitals. I know many of them want to work in the University Hospital of Berlin and Charité Berlin and University Hospital of, Munich, LMU Munich, Ludwig-Maximilian-Universität, or Klinikum Rechts der Isar in Munich, or, Klinikum Eppendorf University Hospital in Hamburg. I worked in the University Hospital of Kiel in Schleswig-Holstein, the northernmost state of Germany. And I have worked in rehabilitation hospital. I worked in Kreiskrankenhäuser. I worked in städtische Krankenhäuser, that is the big city hospitals in the big cities. So I have experience in different kinds of hospitals, and they are very different. Firstly, in university hospitals, the environment is cutthroat, which means there's a lot of emphasis placed on research. These are great hospitals if you're looking for an academic career. That is, you want to become the head of the department. You want to be in leading positions in different hospitals. Even in district hospitals and smaller hospitals, the head of the department is usually the one who has, reached a top position in a university hospital. Very rarely you'll get a head of the department in smaller hospitals who has worked in that hospital and has become the head of the department. Usually he has been senior consultant or a head of department in a university hospital, and they have chosen him now as the head of the department in a smaller hospital. Just working in a smaller hospital, it's very difficult to become a head of the department in any of the hospitals. The big pay is always in the top positions in the hospital, and for this you need to have had a career in a university hospital. This is the truth. I have seen doctors who have become heads of departments after having worked in one of the smaller hospitals or district hospitals. But if you really need to, where the big money is in the academic career, now I'm not talking about private practice, I'm talking about an academic career. That is, you want to become the head of the department, you want a big paycheck, you should have been senior consultant or a head of department in a university hospital with a lot of research work, big career in a university hospital. And in this case, some of the district hospitals or smaller hospitals, when they're looking for the head of the department, they get applications from different doctors, and they will see where has this guy done his training. It has to be they usually choose a doctor who has worked in a university hospital or was a senior consultant in a university hospital. So this is this. But another thing with training in different kinds of hospitals is, in medium-sized or smaller hospitals, in smaller towns and villages, is the other doctors with you are also foreign doctors. That means that it's much more comfortable working in such an environment because all others are also foreign doctors, and it's much easier to adapt, and also you have a better chance, especially in surgical fields, to operate more, to have more surgical experience. Whereas in a university hospital, the environment is so cutthroat, and we call this Ellenbogenkultur in German. This means the elbow culture. That is, you have to elbow yourself to come forward in these huge university hospital departments, where sometimes there are more than 100 residents. In the University Hospital of Heidelberg, in the Department of Surgery, there were more than 100 residents. It's hard to believe, but this is the case. The different departments within the surgery department, there were more than 100 residents. Imagine the cutthroat nature of the environment, where you need to elbow yourself to come forward. Whereas in smaller hospitals, you have sometimes 5, sometimes 7 to 8 residents, and it's much easier. And also, when you have other foreign doctors with you, it's easier. Whereas in university hospitals, it's 95% of the doctors are usually German graduates or people who have done the medical studies in Germany. So one way this is good and one way this is bad. How? Because when you have German graduates with you, you have something to look up to, to improve. Okay, I need to reach this level. Whereas if you are with somebody who is like you, there's no incentive to improve yourself or to push yourself. So it has both its advantages and disadvantages. So I hope that is clear. The third thing you have to know about your residency is you have to learn everything yourself. What do I mean by this? Nobody will sit with you and teach you stuff. Nobody will tell you have to learn this. You have to learn everything yourself. You have to ask your seniors, you have to research a little bit and know that you have to learn yourself. When the consultant asks you some question, you have to know he is not going to make any effort to teach you. The onus is completely on you. You have to know what you have to learn. Nobody will spoon feed you during your residency. There is no structured residency program as such. This has a good part and bad part to it, because the good part is the onus is completely on you to take the initiative and take by the books and learn yourself, and the bad part is it's not a structured training program, because at the end of 5 years, it's expected that you have studied every year and you are up on par with a final year resident or a third year resident or a fourth year resident, because nobody will be teaching you. You have to pick up the books, because everybody will know what books to read, and you have to pick up the books and you have to study yourself every day. You have to put in the effort, you have to study, otherwise you cannot keep up with the other residents. And when the consultant expects something of you, you should know this. There are no exams exams also that are conducted, year to year. You join your residency, the only exam you need to take is at the end of your training. So there is nobody to check how much you have read, how much you know. If you don't study, you will be left behind. You'll be mediocre, and worst case scenario, you'll be thrown out of the department. So you have to keep studying yourself and maintain your level of skills, your knowledge. You can talk to other residents, talk to residents from other hospitals, and know which books to read and how much you need to read. You are given opportunities to attend seminars or continued CMEs, that is continued medical education. You can attend these 2 to 3 times a year, given holidays. Sometimes the hospital even finances this for you to attend such training seminars and things like that, where you can improve your skills. So this is one of the things that you have to know about residency in Germany. The fourth thing is you can always change your hospital. Let's say you're doing your residency in one of the hospitals and you're not happy there. You're not happy with the hospital. You're not happy with the department. You are free to change at any point in time. You can apply to another hospital and change your hospital completely. You can even change the department. I've mentioned this before. You're not happy with internal medicine or ophthalmology or whatever field that you're doing. You can always change this. You can change the hospital. You can even change the city you're working. This is one of the biggest advantages of Germany. I have changed my hospital so many times. If you're not happy somewhere, don't hesitate. Just prepare your application and start sending in your application. The more experience you have, the better chances you have of getting a position. So don't worry about this. If you're not happy, you can always change your field, your city, your hospital, or whatever it is. But you should have at least done, in my opinion, at least 6 months. You can change even after 3 months. I had colleagues who were changing after 2 months, 3 months, because they were not happy with the department. Eventually, you will find a hospital where you feel happy and you find some friends. So don't hesitate. If you're not happy in a hospital or a position or a field, you can always change. This is one of the big advantages of Germany. The fifth thing that you have to know about your residency is make sure that the hospital or the department that you are doing your training in has the permission to train residents for the whole period. What do I mean by this? In German, this is called Weiterbildungsbefugnisse. Weiterbildungsbefugnisse means the person who is training you, usually the head of the department, needs to have the permission or the authority to train residents for the whole period. Now, a normal clinical branch is of 5 years duration. So the head of department should have the permission to train residents for the complete 5 years. In university hospitals, this is taken for granted. Almost all doctors there, that is especially in the senior positions, they have this authority to train residents for the complete training period. But in some of the smaller hospitals, the head of the department or the senior consultant can train residents for a maximum of 2 years, sometimes 3 years, sometimes 4 years. Now, how will you know this? Before applying to some of the big hospitals, as the university hospital and the city hospitals, usually the head of the department has this. So what you would do is you Google this Weiterbildungsbefugnisse for that state. Weiterbildung, put the name of the doctor. So you will usually get the Google results, or you can go to the website of the medical council of that area and check this. Enter the doctor's name, Weiterbildungsbefugnisse. Sometimes they even put it in the website of the department. That is 60 months, 24 months. 24 months means 2 years. So he has the authority to train residents only for 2 years. Now, if you are there in this department for 3 years, that 1 extra year will not be considered part of your training. Most of the heads of the departments in most hospitals have it for 5 years, but this is not the case always. In some of the smaller rehabilitation hospitals or village hospitals, the head of the department or the senior consultant does not have the permission to train residents for it. They will not tell you this. Nobody is going to tell you this. The onus is completely on you to find this out. So it's better to know this sooner than later, that okay, I can do my training for the maximum of 2 years here, then I have to change my hospital, because if I continue here, part of my training will not be considered as for the 5 years of my training. So you have to know this beforehand. And finally, even though the training period is not fixed. What do I mean by this? I know clinical branches are 5 years, cardiology is 6 years training. Theoretically, this is the case, but let's say you have been in in a department for 5 years and you think, okay, now I can take my exam. No, it doesn't work like that. Even though you have worked in the department for 5 years and you think now you can take your exam, the head of the department has to sign your logbook saying yes, he can take the department. Until he signs your logbook, no matter how long you have been in the department, you cannot take the exam. Now he has to be happy with you for him to have to sign the logbook. 2 criteria have to be met before you can take your final exam. This is called the Fachsprachenprüfung. That is your final consultant exam to become a consultant. He has to sign your logbook and you should have completed all the tasks that are required of a resident. What do I mean by this? If you are a general surgery resident, you should have assisted in, I don't know the exact numbers. You should have assisted in 100 appendicectomy operations. You should have assisted in 50 cholecystectomy operations or whatever it is. This should be in your logbook and he should sign it. Sometimes even if it's in a logbook, he may not sign it because he is not satisfied with how you have worked, So not only should he be happy with you, you should also have fulfilled this criteria in your logbook. Most of the times, if your logbook is full, the head of the department will just sign it and say, okay, you can take the exam. So you have to know this. And once you pass the exam, you will get a new contract of a consultant contract in that hospital. Or you can change the hospital to become a senior consultant in another hospital. It depends on you completely. So you have to know this, that even though you have finished your 5 years, doesn't automatically mean you can go and take your exam. Your consultant has to sign your logbook. All of the training that you have done in the hospital has to be entered in a logbook. For example, in my radiology training, I needed to have done 3,000 mammographies. I needed to have done, 5,000 CT scans or whatever. I don't remember the exact numbers. All of this information is available in the State Medical Council website. When you start your residency, the local medical council, which is in charge of that district, will have a logbook which you can print out, and in this they will say, it will be written that 1,000 CT scans, and you will enter, and the head of the department countersigns that yes, he has done this. So if let's say you have just 1 year left of your training and you look at your logbook and you see that you haven't done many of this, you can start compiling the numbers in that last 1 year, and then your head of the department will sign it and say, okay, he is ready to take the exam. So these are some of the finer points of residency in Germany which you have to know before you start your residency training. I hope this helped. If you have any questions, please post it on my Instagram. I'll try to answer most of them, and see you in the next video. Bye.